What elements are needed to create a masterpiece? Choreography? Is it the story? The cinematography? The actors? The sound design? Hero is famous for its colors, but what do those colors hide? In this video, I'll show you how the colors represent the history, politics, and economy of the era, story and history. The narrative of Hero is built upon the historical foundation of Qin Shi Huang, the man who would become China's first emperor. Before his ascension, China was a fractured land, torn apart by relentless warring states. The cost of this chaos was paid in the lives of the people. Like anyone driven to achieve something monumental, the king needed an excuse. He claimed his ambition was to unify China into a single nation and to bring an end to all wars. Qin Shi Huang became the king who desired war the most. So a group of legendary heroes rising to assassinate a king in the name of peace. Broken Sword, Tony Leung Chu Wai, Flying Snow, Maggie Cheung, Long Sky, Donnie Yen, and Nameless, Jet Li. Historically, Qin Shi Huang's reputation as a warmonger was well earned, and the attempts on his life are recorded as fact. In the film, if we set aside the fictional Nameless, we are left with three heroes. Interestingly, history also records exactly three major assassination attempts. But there is a key distinction. The motives behind these three attempts were vastly different. The first attempt was led by Jing Kai and commanded by Crown Prince Dan of the Yan state. Jing Kai's strategy mirrors the opening move of Jet Li's Hero almost exactly. He approached the king with the head of a traitor and a map. Hidden within the scroll was a poisoned dagger. It was a calculated ruse mirroring Nameless's plan, but it failed. The second attempt came from Gao Jianli, a blind musician. We see his echo in the film during the duel between Nameless and Long Sky, where music serves as the soul of the battle. In reality, Gao Jianli attempted to kill the king by weighting his musical instrument with lead and hurling it at the emperor during a performance. He missed, and the attempt was fatal, only for him. The third attempt was carried out by Zhang, a nobleman driven by the destruction of his homeland. A motive shared by Jet Li's Nameless and Maggie Cheung's Flying Snow. Zhang Liang hired a man of immense strength to ambush the king's convoy with a massive iron hammer. The hammer crushed a carriage, but the king escaped. While the strongman was executed, Zhang Liang vanished, eventually transforming from a failed assassin into a legendary strategist who helped build the Han dynasty. This mirrors the fate of Long Sky, who at the end of the film finally sets down his sword to find a different path. Everything depicted in the movie reflects these three real-life assassination attempts. Zhang Yimou used all the elements from these events, blending and adapting them into the film. Citizen Kane's and the Rasomon effect and color presentation. Nameless arrived before the king, carrying the swords of the three most feared assassins as trophies. This was the proof required to win the king's trust and his proximity. But why three assassins? The answer lies in the king's obsession with safety. Fearful of Flying Snow and Broken Sword, the king decreed that no one could come within 100 paces of his throne. However, he offered a deadly incentive. Anyone who could eliminate these threats would be granted the honor of sitting within 20 paces. By killing Long Sky in front of the officials, Nameless secured his seat at the 20-pace mark. But he held a secret. His ultimate technique, death at 10 paces, was only lethal within a 10-pace radius. To bridge that final gap, he needed another death, the sacrifice of either Flying Snow or Broken Sword. This strategic gamble allowed Nameless to finally stand within 10 paces of Qin Shi Huang, the exact distance needed for a certain kill. Shi Huang was a ruler of profound intellect. He immediately questioned Nameless on how a minor official could strike down such legendary warriors. To answer, Nameless recounts his victory. This becomes our first story. For this first story, Zhang Yimou bathes the screen in red. This choice is multi-layered. It could represent the impulsive nature of the first assassin, Kane. It symbolizes the deception within Nameless's report and his own bloodlust. However, the king saw through the narrative. He doesn't believe in this version because it portrayed broken sword and flying snow as petty and narrow-minded. In this rejection, we see the king's wisdom. He possessed a spiritual respect for his enemies. The second story is the one the king throws back at Nameless, a version born from his own perspective. In the king's eyes, his enemies are a united front, driven by noble conviction. To visualize this, the palette shifts to blue. This reflects the nobility the king projects onto his enemies, but also captures the cold, tragic inevitability of their sacrifice. There is a historical echo here. If red was the fire of Kane, blue is the cold calculation of Gao Jianli, the musician who waited for his right moment with a chilling stillness. At the end of King's story, Nameless corrects the king's wrong vision of broken sword. It is the final story. It is the truth. For this truth, Zhang Yimou strips away the filters and uses white. It is the color of absolute clarity. Here, white represents the selfless spirit of broken sword, a man who transcended resentment for a higher cause. It parallels the historical Zhang Liang, who abandoned the path of the assassin to pursue the path of the strategist and scholar. This style of presenting the same event from different perspectives is famously known as the Rasomon effect. A long time ago, when I translated Citizen Kane, years after watching Rasomon, I noticed that the Rasomon effect had actually been used in Citizen Kane years earlier. Kurosawa simply refined it to the next level, but Kurosawa famously said he hadn't even watched Citizen Kane before he directed Rasomon. This observation is not about disrespecting Kurosawa. I truly and deeply respect him more than Orson Welles. I'm just telling you what I saw. However, there is a subtle difference between their narratives, and Hero uses both of them, or perhaps something right in between. That is the power of the artist. In Myanmar, our legendary poets said they wrote new poems which created new age while reading each other's poems. In another way, one improves upon what another has started. Beyond these, the palette expands. Green is used to paint the past of broken sword and flying snow, capturing a fleeting era of youth, passion, and idealistic freedom. Black dominates the present-day encounter in the palace, grounding us in the cold reality of power, authority, and the absolute letter of the law. Politics and cinema. To be honest, even when we want to praise Hero, there is a hesitation, a feeling that the film is working as propaganda. It goes out of its way to illuminate the wisdom of the emperor. For some of you, perhaps this is just a thing which cringed. For us who lived under tyrant, this was more disgust. So some of us just hate this movie for that reason alone. So I challenged myself to find a better version of this story. I asked, how could this plot be improved if we stripped away these political justifications? The answer was unsettling. There is no other way. If you remove the king's noble reasoning, the entire mechanism of the film collapses. The story would be ruined. Usually, we condemn a film when art is sacrificed for policy. But in Hero, the policy is the foundation that allows the art to exist. This is the survival instinct of Zhang Yimou. I don't see this as a movie ruined by propaganda. I see it as a masterclass in how an artist makes their vision survive under the weight of a dictatorship. However, there are still elements where I feel the film falls short. Legacy and economy. While Zhang Yimou borrowed the narrative structure from Kurosawa and Orson Welles, the visual soul and martial choreography of Hero belong to King Hu. The duel between Maggie Cheung and Zhang Ziyi is a vibrant homage to a touch of Zen. The encounter between Nameless and Sky is a sword opera, a rhythmic performance underscored by a blind musician. This synthesis of culture, music, and movement is where the film is truly praiseworthy. Hero was the first Chinese film to dominate the American box office, but this triumph was not an accident. It was a calculated commercial strike. Following Hong Kong's return under one country, two systems, the mainland effectively gained veto power over the region's talent. Hero exploited this, recruiting nearly every titan of Hong Kong's golden age. To put it bluntly, Hero is an unjust film. It used the fading glow of Hong Kong's cinema to ignite the dawn of China's own global era. Because it was engineered for profit, the runtime was stripped to 90 minutes. If Zhang Yimou had followed King Hu's philosophy, it would have been a slow-burn masterpiece. Instead, it feels rushed. Furthermore, the characters are echoes of the past. Broken Sword from the Shaw Brothers' One-Armed Swordsman, and Nameless from Wong Kar-wai's Ashes of Time. Both of these films trace their roots back to the legendary Jin Yong. Indeed, Jin Yong is the ultimate source of this lineage. Later, Zhang Yimou made director's cut. More run times, but it still feels as though it needs a slower pace. Zhang Yimou seemed to feel the weight of this. In House of Flying Daggers, he corrected these flaws, allowing the pace to breathe into the end. Hero is a fascinating paradox. Even if you despise the political agenda, that policy was the engine of its beauty. It is a movie you want to hate, but cannot. Hero is a film with every frame a painting. Painting is about color. Hero is a work of colors within colors, where the political and the artistic are so deeply stained into one another that they can never be separated. In our next episodes, I will present my essays on Farewell My Concubine, 2046, and the Confucian Confusion. Like and subscribe to listen to a new perspective on your favorite movies.